Did you know that Bengal tigers have mastered the art of invisibility? Yes, you heard it right, invisibility. Picture this, a majestic Bengal tiger prowling through the dense jungles of India suddenly decides it's time for a quick game of hide-and-seek. With a swish of its mighty tail, it fades into thin air. Hunters, prey, even unsuspecting tourists on safari, they all gaze around, utterly befuddled. Where did that massive tiger go? Is it behind that tree? Or perhaps it's lounging on that rock, chuckling at their confusion. But no, it's nowhere to be found. The tiger has vanished, or so the myth goes. A tiger that can become invisible at will. Now that's a feline with a flair for dramatics. But alas, as amazing as invisible tigers sound, they're about as real as unicorns or dragons. So, if they can't turn invisible, what's with those fancy stripes? Well, let me tell you, those stripes aren't just for show. They're not the tiger's attempt at keeping up with the latest jungle fashion trends, or their version of a rebellious teenage phase. No, these stripes have a crucial role to play. They act like the ultimate camouflage, blending the tiger seamlessly into the tall grass and shadowy undergrowth of its natural habitat. Now that's what I call a high fashion statement. Imagine, it's like wearing a dress that makes you blend into a crowd at a party, only a lot more practical and with a purpose beyond impressing the onlookers. These stripes help the tiger become a stealthy predator, unseen and unheard until it's too late. The stripes break up the tiger's outline in the dappled light and shadow of the jungle, making them less visible to their prey. So no, tigers can't turn invisible, but with those stylish stripes, they've got the jungle's best camouflage. Ever heard the one about Bengal tigers being strict vegetarians? Yeah, me neither. Now imagine this, a Bengal tiger seated at a dinner table, napkin tucked into its collar, delicately nibbling on a Caesar salad. Picture it, a mighty tiger, trading in its usual deer or wild boar for a plate of tofu and quinoa. Isn't that a sight? It's a hilarious thought, isn't it? The idea of a massive, powerful predator opting for a meat-free diet. Well, let's debunk this myth right away. Tigers are obligate carnivores, which means they're biologically required to eat meat to survive. There's no two ways about it. A tiger needs its protein, and it's not getting it from a bowl of lentil soup. So, while it's amusing to envision our striped friends chowing down on a veggie burger, it's far from reality. But if you ever see a tiger in your local vegan cafe, I suggest you run. So, what's on the menu for a real Bengal tiger? Well, contrary to popular myths that have somehow painted these majestic creatures as salad-munching vegetarians, the reality is a tad different. Bengal tigers are actually carnivores, and they have a palate for wild boar, water buffalo, and even the occasional unlucky deer. Imagine, if you will, the scene of a tiger, crouched in the undergrowth, a lone leaf of lettuce hanging from its mouth. Now replace that leaf with a juicy hunk of wild boar. Yes, that's more like it. These tigers are powerful hunters with their keen senses and incredible strength. Their dinner routine is far from a quiet nibble on a carrot stick. It's a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek, and they are the champions, so no tofu for these big cats. They prefer their dinner a bit more animated. And now, for the biggest myth of all, Bengal tigers can speak human languages. Imagine for a moment waking up to the sound of your pet Bengal tiger asking for a cup of coffee, or perhaps a side of bacon. Sounds amusing, doesn't it? This myth, as hilarious as it is, has been around for a while. Picture the scene. A Bengal tiger strolling into a cafe, confidently ordering a caramel macchiato, extra hot, no foam. Or maybe a tiger on a game show, answering trivia questions with a deep, growling voice, outsmarting every human competitor. Now let's take a moment to consider what a tiger might say if it could talk. Would it discuss the weather? Or perhaps it would voice its opinion on the latest animal trends, like the popularity of cat videos on the internet. Maybe it would give us some insight into the secret life of tigers, revealing their favorite hangout spots, or their opinions on the best type of deer to dine on. However, as amusing as these scenarios are, they are far from reality. In fact, the idea that tigers can speak human languages is about as true as saying that your houseplant is planning to take over the world. It's an entertaining myth, but it's just that, a myth. In reality, tigers communicate in their own unique way. Similar to how humans use different tones and volumes to express feelings, tigers use variations in roars, growls, and purrs to communicate with each other. Each sound has a different meaning, from a deep growl as a warning to a soft purr as a sign of contentment. It's a language that's as complex and nuanced as any human language, just not in words that we can understand. But as entertaining as a chatty tiger sounds, their language skills are limited to roar, growl, and purr. So the next time you hear a tiger roar, remember, It's not asking for a cup of coffee. It's speaking in a language older and more primal than any human tongue. Opening. So if tigers can't chat about the weather, how do they communicate? Well, you might be surprised to know that tigers are quite the social creatures, just not in the same way we humans are. You see, the Bengal tiger doesn't engage in small talk or post selfies on Tigergram. No, they have a more sophisticated and subtle way of communicating. Imagine walking into a room and being able to tell who's been there, what mood they were in, and even if they're single just by sniffing the air. Sounds like something out of a superhero comic, right? Well, for a Bengal tiger, that's just Tuesday. Tigers communicate through scent marking. It's kind of like leaving a sticky note for the next tiger that comes along. A tiger's urine, believe it or not, contains a wealth of information. It's like their very own version of a status update. But that's not all. Tigers also use visual signals and vocalizations. Think of a tiger's roar as their version of a tweet. It's a short message that can be heard for miles. It can mean anything from, "Stay away, this is my territory," to "Hey there, I'm single and ready to mingle." And then, there's the tiger's version of an emoticon, their tail. A tiger's tail movements can express a range of emotions, from aggression to relaxation. It's like their own personal mood ring. So while they don't chat about the latest episode of their favorite show or share photos of their lunch, tigers are quite the communicators. They've developed a complex system of communication that suits their needs perfectly. In the grand scheme of things, our human communication methods aren't all that different. We use words, body language, and yes, even emojis, to express our thoughts and feelings. We might not sniff each other's pee or roar to get a message across, well, most of us anyway, but like tigers, we have our own unique ways of keeping in touch. Closing. So while they may not be up for a debate, tigers definitely have their own way of keeping in touch. So let's recap on our journey through the jungle of tiger myths. First up, we had the invisible tiger myth. It's a hilarious notion that Bengal tigers are supernatural beings that can vanish at will. While they are indeed masters of camouflage and stealth, let's not forget they're not pulling a Houdini on us. They are just incredibly good at blending into their surroundings. So no invisibility cloaks involved, just the power of nature's paintbrush. Next, we tumbled into the truth behind the stripes. Some folks believe that each tiger's stripe pattern spells out ancient jungle wisdom. As amusing as that sounds, the truth is, each tiger's stripe pattern is as unique as a human fingerprint. So, while they may not be scribing sage advice in stripe speak, their individuality is something to marvel at. Then we ventured into the realm of the ultimate vegetarians. Yes, some people do believe that these magnificent beasts are leaf munchers. But let's face it, a salad bar is not a Bengal tiger's idea of a hearty meal. The carnivorous reality is that these big cats are top-tier predators, with a diet mainly consisting of large ungulates. No tofu turkeys for these guys. Finally, we delved into tiger talk. There's a myth that tigers have their own sophisticated language, complete with grammar and syntax. While it's a charming idea, the reality is that their communication is more about body language, vocalizations, and scent markings. So, no tiger sonnets or epic tales, but their means of communication is still pretty impressive. And there you have it, folks. Bengal tigers, not invisible, not vegetarian, and definitely not talkative. But hey, at least they've got style.